timers say we love the alcohol, la 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 la. Just line 'em up and we will drink them all, la 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 la. But my mother always said, if you want to drink all day, you best start in the morning, son, 'cause that's the Irish way. We don't get drunk, we get awesome, and every other mother will agree. We don't get drunk, we get awesome, so order up around for you and me. We don't get drunk, we get awesome, and every mother must agree. We don't get drunk, we get awesome, so order up around for you and me, and you and me, and you and me. Let there be whiskey.
Hey, everybody. Welcome once again to Nerds with Alcohol. I am Russ.
And I'm Chris.
And this is Nerds with Alcohol. We are welcome
Hey, CD.
Welcome to the virtual nerd basement, guys. Welcome back on a special Monday edition here.
Episode 249.
Exactly, 249. One episode, 1 week away from our big 250. We've both been extremely busy, so we haven't had a whole lot of time to plan a whole lot of stuff, but we do have a couple of things in mind. Nothing like eating macaroni and cheese like 15 minutes before the show. But we do have a few things in mind for our big 250, and it'll be right around 5 years, pretty much.
It's actually going to pretty much mark our 5-year anniversary, too.
Yeah,
so
5-year anniversary. So it's crazy pants. Hey, CD. So yeah, it's as you might have noticed, we are on Monday tonight, and probably for the next month or so.
Until Thanksgiving.
Until Thanksgiving.
Is what I posted that earlier. We'll be on until Thanksgiving
because of my work schedule suddenly gotten much uglier, particularly on a day like today, where we had to shut down production because of the rain. It got so rainy and it got so wet in the studio.
You'd think you work outside.
Yeah, you would. You'd think. It got so wet and rainy in the studio that we had to call it quits for the day. And it's really frustrating because at this point in the production, every day counts. Mm-hmm. So we're going to, and I have to leave early on Friday because I have a big body paint gig on Friday evening. So we're going to have to stay even later than we would have on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And I'm so much looking forward to that.
Yeah.
So anyways, hey, welcome to the show, everybody.
So how was your week, man? I mean, other than the rain coming into the studio today.
It was okay. I mean, we're just we're working really hard at in the studio, working long hours. I worked almost 50 hours last week. And I have very little time to do almost anything else right now because of that. But Saturday I took to myself, and I slept late and kind of tried to relax, and because I know I'm not gonna have too many more of those. And Sunday I was in a murder mystery dinner show put on by Live Action Fun Factory. It's my friend Mike's kind of company puts on these shows. I mean, unfortunately it was out in Eaton Rapids, mm-hmm. which is about an hour drive away, a little more than an hour drive away. Most of the way to Lansing. Yeah, most of the way to Lansing. But it was in a really nice place, and the food was fantastic. The prime rib was spectacular. And we had a great time.
It was killer?
It was killer. It was very killer. We had a great time. It was a lot of fun, and I'm gonna continue to do the shows. We're gonna do another one in March. I mean, they're basically every few months, and mm-hmm. I think it would be really great. I mean, and I got paid too. I mean, that was pretty cool. And I was a secondary character, which basically means I didn't have any. any lines in the script, but what I was a supplementary character that an improvisational character that worked in the audience. So basically I sat with the people while they were eating their meal and had a meal with them.
Did they know you were a character beforehand?
Yeah, they pretty much. I mean, it's evident that I was an actor and a part of the show. But because everybody that came as a guest had a little badge that we made, and one of the guys that is in the show is a fabricator, and he's got, I think I told you about him. He has like 4 3D printers in his basement and makes a bunch of stuff, and so he made all the badges, and they're really, really cool. And so I didn't have a badge, and because of that, it was evident that I was part of the show and stuff. But it was a lot of fun, and Mike has asked me to continue on to be in the next show, which we have a couple of weeks, and then we have like a week essentially, and then we're gonna start doing or prepping for the next show and rehearsals and stuff. So. A lot of fun though. I mean, like I said, I had a good time. It's fun. I've always enjoyed entertaining people. So I'd love to get back out to doing a little more with the Canterbury Village, but I'm just swamped. I'm honestly really swamped between work and then just these late hours. I'm exhausted.
Yeah. Well, I know
it's all right.
You did the Christmas stroll stuff out there before, where you were Buddy.
I did the Christmas stroll when I was Buddy, and then last year I did the Halloween stroll as Oliver Ogre, and I did one day with them as Oliver Ogre this season. But I'm just so tired. I've not been able to get out there and do more.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah. So, but we do what we can. You know? So, anyway, how was your week?
I was pretty typical. I mean, I was on call. It wasn't horrible. Only had a couple of days where I had some stuff going on. And we played D&D on Friday, Tavern Nights.
Yes, we did.
Had a lot of fun. Just pretty much a role play episode. But
yes, yeah. Well, no, we had some combat.
Yeah, well, it was mostly role play.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it was a good time. I had a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to. Oh yeah, that's right. Well, you guys had combat because you were very direct. You went to the place, and I expected you to spend some time in town and look around and like spend the night there and go talk to some other people in the morning and maybe go look at the house or go talk to his partner or something. No, you're like, we're going right to his estate. It's only an hour away. Fuck it, we're going.
Well, it was a day away.
No, it was. You went to the town. Was a day away. You got to the town in the late evening, and we're like, right, yeah. You know what? It's only another hour. Fuck it, we're going.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You're right about that. So yeah, and then we went to the town, and it was like, okay, I guess this is where we're going. And remind me what it was. What was it we were looking for? We're researching some more stuff with the book, right?
Well, with Sarah. Yeah, you're actually looking for Lord Vialis.
Right, that was what it was. And so I'm just, like I said, long day. And but yeah, and that's that. Yeah, we went like pretty much right there, and it was a little surprising, but
Yep,
it's good. I'm certainly enjoying myself.
Yeah, I am too. I really am. Oh hey, what's this? Oh hey, I have a little dashboard I can do on my phone now that I have the app up. That's kind of cool.
Okay.
Huh. I have the app, and it just told me that your live dashboard is there, and it only shows me like how many viewers and stuff. So I don't really need that. I've got the other stuff here. So anyway, so I did that, and then I had my other game on Saturday, the one that I play in, the 3.5 game, and that was a good time. We got really we're going like one fight at a time because these fights are taking so long. So I mean, we did a lot of bullshitting too, but we played for about 5.5 hours, and got through one fight. Because I mean, we're all 13th level now, and we're fighting shit that's 13th level, and so it's interesting. We're doing it's a Dragonlance campaign, so we're actually looking for the Grey Gem right now.
Oh wow, the Grey Gem of Gyrax or something like that.
Yeah,
Grey Gem.
like that, yeah. We're in the Tower of Fire in this lake of fire. And the Grey Gem's supposed to be in the top, and we're on like the last level. So It's kind of interesting. We're getting close to the end of this section of the adventure, and this is actually going to be the culmination of about 5 years worth of playing.
Wow.
Or 4 years of playing.
That's saying something, man.
Yeah. Yep. So I just got a new magical sword that's intelligent.
Nothing like an intelligent sword.
Well, our paladin had it. Yeah, our paladin had it, and he always bitched that he always used like his two-handed weapons, and the sword was bitching about, you got to use me, you got to use me. So he and the sword had a discussion and decided that the sword would be better off in my hands, the cleric, instead of the paladin.
Well, that's the thing. They've taken a lot of the old class restrictions away when it came to weaponry and stuff. I mean, remember, in D&D version 1 and 2, pretty much, like a cleric only used blunt weapons.
Yep.
There was no edged weapons used.
Yep. And now it's more whatever your god uses. And in this case, my deity, his weapon of choice is a longsword. So I actually I am actually proficient in longsword.
Right. If your god is cool with it, then it's totally fine.
Yeah, it's my domains are strength and war.
Okay.
So I've got some cool abilities, and like at one point the sword was bitching though because there were still enemies up, and I stopped to heal somebody, and I heard in my head, "What are you doing? There's still enemies up. He's still up." Because I'm like, he needs to be healed. He's like, he's still up. He's fine. Kill stuff, and then I did in large person, and Jake told me he's like you hear in your head, "Oh, I'm big."
Nice. That's
so
funny.
Yeah, so it's interesting. It's been a good time.
There's I've been telling you, I've been playing Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous, and near the beginning of the game, you encounter an intelligent weapon that apparently at one point was a human, was a person. And he is now inhabiting this mystical weapon that can take on the form of whatever you want. Like apparently you could change the shape of the weapon and whatnot. And he's like basically a +1 ghost touch weapon that's intelligent. And from what I understand, with and it has a bigger crit range too. I guess it crit ranges to ×3 instead of ×2. And but apparently the weapon is supposed to get more powerful as you progress, but I haven't seen it get more powerful.
Kind of like the Vestiges of Divergence that Mercer did.
But so far I haven't seen it really change at all. So we'll see.
Okay, cool.
I've gotten a couple other bows because I have it in the form of a bow, and I've gotten a couple other weapons that were I got some better ones, but and you can talk to him. Just like he's a part of your party and stuff. So I'll tell you, that game is really entertaining me. It's really cool. And it's huge. I mean, like, I'm going to be playing this game for months.
Huge.
Huge. Like an orange on a toothpick.
So what are you drinking?
Tonight, I am just drinking Pepsi because I am just not feeling the booze tonight, brother. I'm tired and I'm like exhausted, and I'm not looking forward to spending the next 39 plus hours at the studio.
Yeah. Well, so for me, it's a day that ends in a Y, so
you're drinking.
Yeah, I'm drinking. So finish that one.
Some people would consider you that you might have a problem there, Chris. Not me. Not this person here. Not this guy.
I don't have a problem. There's no problem.
You just have a problem getting more beer in your glass.
Well, I have a problem going through all my beers. Actually, what it is,
exactly.
It's the collector in me.
Right.
So I am drinking a beer that actually, I think it was Pete brought over for gaming, and or it might have been, I think it was gaming, but it's called Rind Over Matter.
Oh, for God's sake!
It's from Bell's. It looks like that. Let's see. Move it over. There we go. Rind Over Matter. It is it's part of their wheat series, which Founders is doing a bourbon barrel aged series, and Bell's is doing a wheat series, I guess. I guess they had some leftover Oberon from this summer and didn't know what to do with it, so they decided to do other things. This is a wheat ale with lemon and orange zest. I'm not a wheat fan generally. Let's see. This is 5% ABV with a shelf life of about 6 months. It interesting. So you got all like the Michigan 10 cents, California CRV, all the little like stuff on the top for like the deposits, and then on the side it says Puerto Rico, do not litter. But anyway, it's kind of a hazy beer, which most wheats are. Wheat tends to have a lot of particulate matter in the mash, so it comes out kind of hazy a lot of times. If you smell it, it definitely, you get a lot of that lemon aroma. It's very lemony on the nose. And that's about all you get is the lemon. So I'm gonna go ahead and take a little sip here because I've only had one of these so far, and it was a while ago. And I have to say, it's better than I thought. It's almost a shandy. So I mean, it's almost like a beer mixed with lemon, which is what it kind of tastes like. It at first, the first taste, it doesn't get quite to the sour note of an actual sour, but it also reminds me of sours. So it's like a super mild sour shandy type of beer. There is a little bit of bitterness on the back end that kind of cuts the lemon, which would be the orange zest. But it's actually really good. I actually like this one quite a bit. Would I drink it all the time? Probably not. But it's one where if it's around, I would definitely have it. I'd say this is probably a 3.25. Well, 3.5. I give it 3.5 out of 5. It's actually pretty good. It's refreshing. It actually is quite enjoyable if you like lemon. I'm not a huge lemon fan, and this is just about the level of lemon. If there was more than this, I wouldn't like it. So I actually don't like a lot of shandies because they're just too lemony. But yeah,
already.
But yeah, Bell's Rind Over Matter. It's actually pretty easy drinking. I like it. So
already then, cool.
All right, well, there's so much to talk about, and we've been going long.
There's a lot.
Without you here, we've actually been going long the last couple because there's been so much to talk about. And I'll tell you what, one of the things I will say, and I know we've talked about being back in the basement together and doing shows occasionally there. One of the things we will have to watch out for is going long, because when Pete came over, and it was me, Pete, and Renee 2 weeks ago down in the nerd basement. It was the first time we'd done a show in the actual nerd basement in over a year and a half.
Right.
It was so easy to just sit there and talk and forget that we were on.
Sure.
And just talk and talk and talk and lose track of time, which is why we went almost 2.5 hours.
Right.
Which I'm guessing with some of the stuff we have planned next week, we may be going long next week.
Yeah, we go long. Yeah. 200 to episode 250. I mean, come on.
So I figure we have to. But anyway, so one of the things that Renee and I talked about last week, though, was DC Fandome. And I was really bummed that you weren't there to talk about it because, holy fuck, so much shit.
It dropped a lot of information. It was basically DC's, new online like conventions and stuff. That a lot of the DC, the company itself is not going to the conventions and hasn't been going to the conventions. Like they haven't had a representative of the actual company. So they've been doing these like much bigger kind of things online.
Yep.
And it's been huge and people are loving it. And excuse me, hang on. Oh, like I said, long day. So yeah, they just had a new one, not this past weekend, but the weekend before. And they dropped some big fucking news and some big trailers and all kinds of crazy shit.
So CD actually made a suggestion for us for do a Star Wars podcast about the length of a Star Wars movie.
Come on, man. Ain't got time for that.
Oh, that was the other week. Yeah, that's true. It was a lot about Star Wars. That was 2 weeks ago. But anyway, they dropped a ton of things. They also dropped the first 2 episodes of Young Justice season 4.
Yeah.
Which I've only watched the first one so far. I haven't gotten to the second one yet.
I'm caught up and it's riveting. It's so good.
How many episodes are out now? Have they continued to do them, or
3.
Is it 3?
Just 1.
So, okay,
just 1. Mm-hmm. So 3 so far.
I might be able to get caught up tomorrow.
So good.
Since we don't have our show tomorrow. So.
Right.
Maybe I'll actually jump on and play some Far Cry 6 tomorrow. At our time.
But they're doing it's pretty cool because they're doing like essentially they're dealing with racism on the show, and that's pretty fucking cool.
From the aspect of Mars.
From Mars, right? Exactly. Martians have 3 main sub castes, and then there's the 4th one, which is very, very small. It's their religious caste, and that they
isn't it caste?
The Martians cased, depends.
Potato.
I think you might be right. Make caste system.
Yeah.
But the green Martians are the most plentiful. The white Martians are the lesser, or the minority race, and considered a little more. They're considered maybe a sub class or sub race. The red Martians are the ruling class, and then the yellow Martians are the religious caste. And you're born green, yellow, or red, and then the yellow ones, you assume that when you become a religious leader.
So green, white, or red?
What do I say?
Yellow.
Great, yeah. Green, white, and red are the ones you're born. And from what I understand, the way they're establishing it in the Young Justice continuity is that they all live kind of. There's not much difference between the races other than that base skin color, and you never know. You could have an entire family of green Martians going back 3 generations, and all of a sudden you get a white one just born into the family. There's no like rhyme or reason for it, I guess, or it's just genetic kind of luck of the draw, I guess. And so like Megan Moore's character, the Ms. Martian character, John Jones is her uncle, even though he's green and she's white.
Well, her parents is one's green, one's white.
Yeah, I think her mother is white.
Yes.
Yeah, their mother is white. So, and it's a far cry from the main continuity, because in the main continuity, the green and white Martians warred with each other. They were actually more of a separate, like completely separate races. I mean, there was commonality between them. They were both, they had common powers and stuff, but they're very different. I don't know if they were different races, but they're just like, more like a tribe, and the white Martians were much more violent. So, and aggressive, where the green Martians were peaceful. And then, and in the main continuity, the green Martians were all wiped out in a telepathic plague, essentially. And then, but the white Martians had survived, or many of them anyway. And but in this world, it's in this, corner of the multiverse, this particular Earth, I think it's like Earth 28 or something like that, is it's very different. And
to them, it's Earth 1.
Yeah, of course, to them it's Earth 1. Yeah. You're always going to name your Earth 1.
Yep.
So, it's been really, really cool seeing like Connor and Beast Boy on Mars, helping Megan and Connor get ready for their upcoming nuptials and things like that. And that's been kind of interesting. But they're really overall the underlying storyline is about racism, is about, you know, judging a book by its skin color, you know, and so it's been pretty fun to watch that and see how that unfolds and see how this alien race is dealing with it. Now, the interesting thing too is one of the things I like about Young Justice, the writers tend to slip a lot of things in for comic fans like myself that see the different references and stuff that are being made.
Yeah.
In the Martian Manhunter comic books, about, 15 years ago, they had established this character, Gem, son of Saturn. There's an alien that had come to Earth and he had acted as a superhero, and he was apparently sent from Saturn. Well, in the Martian Manhunter comic book that came out a few years back, they established that the Martians actually created the Saturnians. Like they were genetically created as a helper kind of race, or a not exactly a slave race, but more like a working force. And then eventually they were set up in their own kind of culture and society on the moons of Saturn. And the Green Martians, particularly, anytime they encountered one, they're almost godlike because they were the creators. And Jean went to Saturn for whatever reason and came across this character, Gem, son of Saturn, at one point. And they interacted with each other. Gem was in some issues of Justice League and whatnot. So, and apparently the Saturnians and the Martians have a lot of common kind of physical characteristics. They're not exactly the same, but some very common physical characteristics. And Saturnians are red.
I hit a button.
Yeah, I guess so. And so Saturnians are red for the most part, which, okay. And I think they're red and white, depends. And so what in Young Justice, they've established that Gem is actually part of the ruling class of the Martians. And so they've integrated some of that lore and some of that storytelling. I gotta say, I'm just really, really impressed with how they're doing it. Plus there's hints of the Legion of Superheroes and man, like the show is excellent, and I can't wait to continue to buy the DVD.
Cool. You know? I was just looking up Gem because the name sounded familiar, and I think I've seen him.
Jemm.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Actually, they had a action figure out for him.
Really?
Yeah. I'm seeing some references. I'm seeing like the back of the card, basically saying, basically telling his biography, his stats. First appeared as Gem, son of Saturn, in Gem, son of Saturn, #1 in 1984.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Occupation, Prince.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's a prince of his people.
Yeah, so but still seeing occupation, Prince.
Yeah. So I do some really, really cool stuff with the show, and I'm really entertained by it. So yeah, and then I don't know.
Other than that, they had a shitload of trailers. Though. Yeah, Fandome and the trailers. So I don't know how many you saw.
Saw the Batman trailer.
Okay, so what did you think of the Batman?
So I was worried initially about Pattinson, not so much about his acting ability, because the guy's a pretty good actor. Just whether he'd be able to pull off playing the Batman without me looking at it and seeing, oh yeah, it's the guy from Twilight. And I think we're beyond Twilight now. I think this guy, he's going to do a fine job. I'm looking forward to seeing him be Batman. And I like the look of the Batmobile. I like the fact that the Batmobile actually does look like a fucking car. Not my favorite. The
It
Tumbler
looks like a
was not my
Challenger,
favorite.
actually.
Huh?
It looks kind of like a Challenger.
Right. The Batmobile, the last one, the Tumbler, or not the last one. That was the last
Nolan one.
The Nolan one looked like a tank. It wasn't a Batmobile.
I loved that one though. I personally loved it.
It was cool, but it wasn't a Batmobile to me. You know, I want a Batmobile to look like a car, and I think it should. Like, honestly, I wasn't a big fan of the later Tim Burton ones either. Like, the first one was pretty cool, the second one was pretty cool, but by the third or fourth ones, they were like, what the fuck is this, you know?
Well, Tim Burton only did the first two.
Right. So yeah, the first two, pretty cool. And that's the other thing too. I mean, you'd think that you'd want this car, if the Batman's going to be driving around the streets of Gotham, you'd want his car to be very maneuverable. You want it to be bulletproof and fast, of course. And be able to do goofy shit like go up walls and stuff like that. It's a little ridiculous, but it's going to have gadgets and stuff like that. But you still want it to be able to corner without taking out a building, you know? And that was the thing with some of these really, really long, you know, Batmobiles that they had. That was like, how does this thing corner? It'd be
well,
like
I love that they
driving a limousine.
Yeah, I love that they do that. In some of them, they've done the whole grapple thing, where he shoots a grapple out that grabs onto a light pole, which would not hold it up. And but okay, it's still comic book physics, so it grabs that and then spins around the corner and then detaches, which means there's little fucking bat grapples all over Gotham.
Right. And run out of these titanium wire fucking grappling hooks, you know?
At least with Spider-Man, his shit dissolves after a little while.
After an hour, it just dissolves.
But yeah, so I liked it. I actually saw a thing on Facebook, a little meme that showed Pattinson from. It was a picture of Pattinson from Twilight, and then one of him from Batman. And under the one from Twilight, it said, "Okay, girls, you had him for 5 years. The boys get him now."
Right. Yeah. No, I like that. I like it. That's cool. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I am okay with it. I'm looking forward to seeing what they're going to do with it. And
I'm interested to see Andy Serkis's Alfred.
Yes, I am excited about that. What else? I mean, I'm excited to see the Penguin. Because that's what's his name?
Colin Farrell.
Colin Farrell under a lot of makeup.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. So Renee and I were talking about it. She's afraid that she's like, the one thing that she has a problem with, and I have a problem with this in a lot of the different ones, especially the original, the first Batman movies, was they try and jam too many villains in one movie.
Yes. And
they get overshadowed.
Right.
And it's the same thing they did with the Spider-Man movies, where they were trying to jam too many villains in. You need to just pick one villain and go with it. And I told her, I said, this one, though, is going to be mostly about Riddler.
Right.
And Penguin's there because Penguin is a mob boss. Right. And you're going to see Falcone.
Right.
And
because this is an early Batman.
Yes.
This is a young Batman.
Yeah, I mean, and they're doing the whole Penguin's going to have the Iceberg Lounge. And stuff, only because the only reason I even know that is because I saw that one of the actors in the film is Iceberg Lounge hostess.
Oh,
so I know that they're going to actually do the Iceberg Lounge, but I'm like, he may not even be one of the main characters. He may just be somebody that Batman actually talks to.
Yeah,
because Batman doesn't always take Penguin out. until he has to.
In the movie we do see him, or in the trailer we do see him like trying to drive away from Batman and all this other shit.
Well, yeah, and I got you.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm sure that there is going to be some of that, but
there's going to be some conflict. But yeah, my guess is we're going to see some cool stuff with him and everything. But I think you're right. I think the Penguin will be maybe more of a secondary villain, and it is going to be more about the Riddler. And apparently, they're making the Riddler much scarier, much more menacing.
Yeah, I think they're kind of crossing him with Hush. So
yeah, maybe.
But one of the things she also said, I have to go back and watch it because she swears she saw multiple other villains in there. No. She said she saw Poison Ivy in there, and I'm like, I didn't see Poison Ivy.
No. As far as I know, no Poison Ivy. So maybe that'll come later. Maybe that'll be another film or a different film. But yeah, as far as I know, no Poison Ivy.
Yeah. But I'm looking forward to it. I have heard that it's supposed to be like 3 hours long, or damn near 3 hours.
I'm okay with that.
I am too. If it's good,
I'm okay with that.
I'll watch it.
Good. Yep.
But along with that, one of the trailers I actually finally got to watch today because I hadn't gotten to watch it yet, but was the Peacemaker trailer.
Yeah.
Which, have you seen that?
Yes, I have.
Oh my God, that looks fucking hilarious.
It really does. I didn't think that they'd be able to run with this, and I just wasn't sure that it was going to be palatable, you know. And it is. It looks fucking hilarious. I am totally in. John Cena is pretty funny. Has proven that he can be funny.
Yes.
So
I'm in prison.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for what? Superhero
stuff.
Yeah, superhero stuff. You're not a superhero. Yeah, what superhero are you? I'm a peacemaker. There's no superhero named Peacemaker.
Yeah. I mean, I think it looks great.
And him with the eagle, and it's hugging me. Dad, get the camera.
Dad, get my phone. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, man. I think we're gonna see some pretty cool, some really funny shit in that, and we're gonna be seeing essentially his, more stuff from James Gunn. It's gonna be this is gonna be the brainchild of James Gunn.
Yep. So. Yeah, it premieres January 13th.
Yes. So not too far away. I mean, kind of around the corner here.
Yep. But yeah, there was so much other stuff. They did the behind the scenes thing for The Flash.
Yes. There was a minor, like a teaser trailer for The Flash.
Well,
did you see that?
Well, yeah. Even they even said though it's not really a teaser because they don't have enough for even a teaser trailer. So they showed what they could, but they said that Ezra Miller was out there. He's like, we don't have enough for anything yet, but we'll show you what we can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, but yeah, I watched that. That looks like it could be good. And it looks like they're gonna be bringing Batman back in that. So
yeah, well, it has been hinted at, and it then eventually was confirmed that Michael Keaton would be returning as an older Batman, or as I don't want to say an elderly Batman, but an older Batman. The same Batman from the Tim Burton films, which, all right, cool. Let's see it. I'm in. That looks great.
Well, what the fans want, though, is they want him coming back as Bruce for Batman Beyond.
Yes, that has been the thing that most people have vehemently suggested.
And I would be fine with that. I think that would be fantastic, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely. No doubt about it. I think he'd be fantastic. I mean, I was one of those people, even when I was a kid, was a bit of a naysayer when it came to Michael Keaton as Batman. I was like, what? Michael Keaton? It's Mr. Mom.
Was it Mr. Mom? No way.
He's gonna play Bruce He's gonna play Bruce Wayne. I don't know, man. And he did a great job.
I think he was really good. I think he was good as Bruce. he was good as Batman. He wasn't great, but
no, you know.
And I think Val Kilmer was really good as Batman, but not as great as Bruce.
Yes.
Clooney was good as both.
I think,
but Clooney had the shittiest fucking script in the world.
I have said dozens of times, and I stand by this until the cows come home, that if Clooney had been given a good script, he would have made an amazing Batman.
I think so.
But he was given a shit script.
Yep.
And it, it's not, that one was not his fault.
And personally, I know a lot of people don't like the "I'm Batman" thing, but I think Christian Bale was absolutely fraggin' amazing as both Batman and Bruce.
I agree. I think yes, the gravelly voice that he would put on was a little ridiculous, especially when in the Ben Affleck version you see that him using a voice modulator in his cowl, which, what the fuck? Of course, that made total sense, you know.
But that was never anything that was established in the actual Batman myths. He never used that. He never used that. So what would he do? Right. Well, he's going to have to disguise his voice somehow. Otherwise, people are going to know he's Bruce. Right. So I can understand that. Yes, I agree with you. It makes sense that he would have a voice modulator. I mean, that's the whole thing with Flash, was whenever he talks, he speeds up so that his voice modulates in the TV show.
Right, exactly.
Which I thought was great. That way nobody recognizes him as Barry. So that's the kind of thing, yes, I agree. That could have been put in, but it's never been used. They've never really hinted at it even in the comics.
Yeah.
It's like, Superman. He takes his glasses off and nobody knows he's fucking Clark Kent. Nobody looks at Clark Kent and goes, you look a lot like Superman.
Well, I mean, of course, they always say the argument is that, Kal-El changes himself a great deal when he is Clark Kent. He slouches, he wears suits that are too big for him, so he looks like he's swimming in the clothing. He changes his whole demeanor. He raises his voice half an octave. There's a lot of things that they say.
So rather than going, I'm Superman, he goes, I'm Clark Kent.
Kind of. It's more like, instead of being Superman, he's Clark Kent. It's a little bit, it's a little more believable than it. But yeah, I mean, they established that years ago in Man of Steel. He changes his hair. He changes the way he wears his hair. Slouches, changes kind of his entire demeanor, and it goes a long way to the idea that he doesn't get recognized as Superman. I mean, the glasses is another thing, and the fact that a lot of people don't really get a good close-up look of Superman, or
Lois does, and she fucking works with Clark.
Right. Now that's where everything starts to break down. It's like, well, how does Lois or Jimmy not recognize him? So that's where things start to break down. And that's one of the reasons why, in the comic books now, Superman has given up his secret identity. And he is now, he is told, everybody knows that Superman is Clark Kent in the comics. And I think that's been a really interesting storyline that they've been running.
Yeah.
So,
well, so
there was also Black Adam.
Yes. The Black Adam trailer, teaser trailer.
Mm-hmm.
Which,
well, they showed a scene. They showed like one of the opening scenes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I gotta say, I'm looking forward to that.
Well,
I'm a big fan of The Rock anyway. Well, Dwayne Johnson. He's not The Rock anymore.
Right. I've said many times I'm a huge fan of Dwayne Johnson, and I'll more or less watch almost anything that he's in.
Dude, him on fucking lip sync battles is just fucking hilarious. I've seen 2 of them where it's him against Jimmy Fallon, and they're just absolutely hilarious.
The guy is a showman. He was born to be a performer. And I mean, watching his Young Rock sitcom that he did. That's really,
See, I haven't watched any of that.
Honestly, pretty cool. And
Okay.
he's not, I mean, it's about his life.
Right.
And he's in the bumper parts, you know, like he's it takes place in the future and he's running for the presidency and he's telling his life story essentially. And so he's in the transitional scenes where they're going from scene to scene, but where he sets up the episode and he narrates a little bit, but you know, he's only in it a little bit, but it's still a really, really fun show. I gotta admit.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So I'll see anything The Rock's. I think
I gotta get back to Ballers.
Yeah, Ballers was really cool too.
I'm in like the 4th season or something like that right now.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of forgot about it, and now I gotta get back to it.
It was a really entertaining show. Really fun show. And Rob Corddry is really great in it too. So I like him. But yeah, it was a fun show. And I'm like I said, I'm not a sports guy. I'm not much into the sports ball. So the fact that this show is all about, it's about these guys that are the money managers for athletes.
Yep.
I thought that was a really cool kind of twist on the whole thing, you know.
But you should still see an inside look at what the NFL's like.
Exactly. So anyway, I mean, and I think, The Rock has been working on, or Dwayne Johnson has been working on this movie, Black Adam, for years now. Yep. I mean, it's got to have been 5 or 6 years that he has been like, yes, I'm going to play this role. I'm born to play this role. I'm meant to play this role. And he is. I think he's going to do a great job. He's got that kind of that look where he can play. He could conceivably play an Egyptian, man from, the Middle Age, from 3000 BC or 2000 BC or whatever it is.
He's already been Scorpion King.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and in all honesty, The Rock has never, the majority of the movies he's been in have been raging successes. Like I don't think he's really had anything that would be considered a flop.
Yeah.
So
I haven't seen Jungle Cruise yet.
No, I haven't either, but I still heard it was good. It was entertaining. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, I'm totally in. And I like the fact that I like how in the comics they've started to try and make Black Adam into more of a hero.
Yeah.
He's a member of the Justice League right now. And it's funny because the other heroes, sometimes when they encounter other heroes and stuff, and they're like, wait a minute, we're taking orders from Black Adam now, and things like that. And they've softened his look a little bit, so he's not quite as harsh. Now, me personally, I would prefer to see Captain Marvel or Shazam, however you want to call him, in the Justice League. But having Black Adam there is pretty cool too, because you got the powerhouse that comes from the Shazam family, but you still kind of got this kind of arrogant asshole that kind of keeps people, kind of keeps the other heroes on their toes.
I'm looking forward to the Shazam Black Adam crossover.
Right, because that's the thing. They showed some of the teaser stuff for Black Adam, and then like a day later or whatever, we saw some of the teaser stuff for
Shazam 2, Fury of the Gods.
Yeah, Fury of the Gods, which is going to be released after Black Adam.
Yeah, but dude, Lucy Liu and Helen Mirren are the bad guys.
They're Greek goddesses, I believe.
Yes, they are. Yeah. That looks awesome.
It really does.
I love Helen Mirren.
Everybody loves Helen Mirren.
I think
How can you not love Helen Mirren?
Dame Helen Mirren.
Yes.
I think she is absolutely fantastic. Her in Red is just one of the best things ever.
She was so good. She was so good in Red. Yeah.
But along with that, we had that, but we also had the Harley Quinn season 3 teaser, which was fucking hilarious.
You know what? I did not see that.
You didn't see that?
I'm going to have to do that.
Yeah, it's like 6 minutes long, and it's Harley coming out and with King Shark, and they're doing this whole thing, and she's like, and at one point it's Kaylee Cuoco doing the voice, of course, and she's just like, animation takes so damn long.
Oh man, that's hilarious. That's funny. I do like the fact that the show is very self-referential.
When this season is the Kill Bang Marry season.
Ah, yes. Let's see, season 3 teaser, DC Fandome. Okay, official trailer.
You gotta watch like the whole thing where she comes out and does it, because her and King Shark talking and stuff is just hilarious too. And then they also did since you haven't seen that, so we won't go into that so much, but they show a lot of like black and white stuff and just like little like sketches and things that they're working on. I'm just kind of scanning through it real quick.
Yeah.
Here. Kite Man shows up and he says some things, but it's really funny. But I'm looking forward to that. That should be out, I think, next year sometime.
Mm-hmm.
And
22.
Then also in 22, we get the video game Gotham Knights.
Yes.
Which they did a whole preview on that too, and that just looks badass.
It does. It does look really awesome. I mean, I'm there's a part of me that's bummed that Batman is not actually in the game, but I mean it builds on the lore of what was created in the Arkham Asylum game. So of course, for those of you that played all the way through Arkham City, or no, it wasn't Arkham City. It was just Arkham Knights.
Arkham Knights is the last one.
Yeah, Arkham Knight. That Bruce dies at the end of it. So
oh man.
Oh, stop.
I haven't finished that one yet.
So yeah, well, the game's been out forever, so cope.
But yeah, Gotham Knights, they show at the beginning that Bruce is dead.
Yeah.
Gordon's dead.
Yeah.
And the Bat family is taking over.
Right. They've taken over for Batman.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's okay. Let's see how it does. I like how you can play one of 4 characters. I think you can swap.
You swap between them throughout the game. And from what I was hearing, I was watching like the extended thing about it, and they basically said is that there's various talons that are going to be set up again that you're going to have to fight.
Yeah.
And that each talon has its own strengths and weaknesses, and that's part of the game, is learning what their strengths and weaknesses are, so you know how to combat them. So you're basically going to have to decide who you want to play versus certain talents.
Yeah,
because certain characters are going to have the things that they need to expose the weaknesses.
Great. That's awesome. I mean, I think everything I've seen so far, it looks absolutely stunning. So
it does.
I'm like, yep, let's do it. I'm in.
Yep, I am all in.
Sign me the fuck up.
Yep, me too. So, that said, and speaking of DC, another thing that came out last week was the animated movie Injustice.
Now, this was a really interesting, this is interesting because this animated film, Injustice, is based on the comic books that are based on the video game. So it's kind of its 3 tiers, and which is really weird because sometimes quite often it'll go the other way around. They'll make a movie or something, and then they might make some comic books on it, and then they might make a video game, depending on whatever. And this is based on the video game Injustice,
the fighting video game, which actually had a hell of a storyline in it. I mean, it actually did have a story. It's not just like Street Fighter where you're just beating the shit out of each other.
Right, and that's the thing that kept me going on that game, because I am not a big
I wanted to see the story.
Yeah, I'm not a big fighting game kind of guy. I like story heavy games, and both of these games did have a pretty heavy story. As you played through the story, it would basically lead you into a fight, and the characters would fight, and you were basically. There were a few times when you could choose, like, do you want to use Green Arrow or do you want to use Black Canary? It gave you that choice. But it's a really great one. The first one, basically the Justice League of Earth 1 is contacted by the Batman of, I think it's the Batman of this other Earth, which I think is Earth like 22 or something like that. And he asks them for help. He's like, Superman he lost his shit and he took over, and we need your help to overthrow his regime. And so the Justice League of Earth 1 basically go to this other Earth and say, how can we help? And it's pretty wild. It's a pretty cool story, and they do a really good job of like engaging you, keeping you engaged in the story. And then in the Injustice 2, which came out, was originally was brought out for the PlayStation 4, the following system. Although
I actually haven't. I have Injustice 2. I have not played it because I never finished Injustice.
Okay.
And it's one of those where I wanted to finish it. I would go back and start playing it and stuff, and I haven't touched my PlayStation 3 in so long.
Well, Injustice was ported onto the PlayStation 4.
I know, I just haven't bought it for it.
Right.
It's one of those where I have to buy it again.
Yeah. And that's kind of... and the cool thing was they kept adding more characters, and they did some really fun stuff. And in Injustice 2, you could either craft or find or earn costume items, so you could actually change the outfits and change how your characters looked. And I thought that was really, really fucking cool. And they added more characters. In Injustice 2, they didn't bring the characters from the multiverse into it. I think there was like a multiversal kind of thing, but it wasn't. I played it, but I can't remember. It's been so long since I played it. But they left the Earth 1 guys out, and they didn't have that part of it. So,
but yeah,
still,
basically,
a beautiful game.
Yeah,
fantastic graphics, and the story was really great.
Yeah,
and so they made the comics the video games were so successful, they made comic books for them.
Which I actually got the comics in digital form.
Right, because it expanded the lore and expanded on the story of what happened in this world to differentiate it from Earth 1, and then Injustice 2 came out, and they made more comic books for it and stuff, and it was really, really fucking cool. They just did some really awesome stuff.
Yeah,
so then it got popular enough that they made this animated film.
I was hoping they were going to make an animated movie out of it. And I wanted this movie.
Yeah.
Because I love the Injustice story. I think it's fantastic. It's dark as fuck.
Oh,
and it is a rated R animated movie.
Yes.
For blood, for blood and gore. Because it is fucking bloody. And it shows what would happen if Superman went to the other side, really. I mean, technically, he doesn't really go to the other side. He doesn't
turn evil, per se.
But he becomes a dictator.
He becomes a dictator. He feels he's fully justified.
He does.
What he is.
But every dictator does.
Right. He feels fully justified in why he's doing it. It starts with him essentially killing the Joker. And I don't want to spoil too much. But,
well, the game's been out for like 5 years.
Yeah, the game's
or 6 years.
You're right. You know what? Fuck it. So the Joker, through some machinations, basically fools Superman.
Yeah, the story starts off with Superman and Lois waking up, and Superman hears 2 heartbeats.
Right.
And
discovers she's pregnant.
Realizes Lois is pregnant before she even knows.
Right.
So there's all celebration, blah, blah, blah. He goes and sees Batman, and
Batman's awesome because he's going to tell him, and he goes, Lois is pregnant. He goes, how did you know? He's like, your hands didn't shake once when you were fighting Doomsday, but now they're tremoring.
Yeah. And he goes, and you got a stupid grin on your face.
Yeah, you have an idiot grin on your face. He's like, oh, okay. And so he tells him, and then almost immediately, and he's like, the Joker's in town. I'm trying to figure out why. I'll be out soon.
He's in Metropolis.
And the Joker basically not only then does fool Superman into accidentally killing Lois, but then he also sets off a bomb, a nuclear explosion that destroys Metropolis.
Right. He uses, and I thought this was kind of a brilliant take on things, is that Joker actually kills Crane, Scarecrow.
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
steals
they didn't pull any
his
punches, man.
yeah,
They were, yeah.
steals his fear gas.
Yeah.
Combines it with kryptonite.
So that it would affect Superman.
So it would actually penetrate Superman's lungs. And then when he kidnaps Lois, he also just shoots Jimmy. No hesitation. Bang!
None.
Right through the camera.
Yeah. And see, that's the thing. I mean, when Superman finds Jimmy's body, that's one of the problems I had with it. Superman finds Jimmy Olsen dead, one of his best friends. And he basically just kind of goes, oh.
Yeah.
You know, he doesn't get super upset. He doesn't flip out. He just kind of takes the watch and he's like, oh, what a bummer. What a pity. And you're like, no. Superman would have had a bigger reaction to that. So I didn't dig that. But
yeah.
But it was still, again, though, a really good story. And expands on basically Batman telling Superman. Well, I mean, then Superman basically is like, I'm gonna kill him, you know.
Yeah.
and
but yeah, that was the thing so Joker kidnaps her and then does surgery on her,
right,
and attaches basically a pacemaker to Lois's heart that is then tied to a nuclear warhead.
Right, and when her heart stops, it sets off the bomb and destroys the city. Yep. So not only did Kal-El accidentally kill his wife and unborn child, he inadvertently destroyed his hometown, the city that he was, that he loved and protected. So,
and of course, at this point, Batman has captured Joker and is like, you know, why'd you do it? He's like, I was tired of facing off with you. It's always
losing.
I always lose. I wanted something easier.
Right, exactly. And so, and he knew exactly how to get to Kal-El. And he did, and he fucking fucked him up. And you know, I mean, if there's anything that's going to make Superman break, it's this situation. And Batman it's funny because Batman was wrong. He was wrong because he looked at the Joker and he said, you've made a mistake. He is not going to break. And
he is the greatest man I've ever known.
Yeah. And yet even Batman can be wrong, and Superman flies in and in
one of the most iconic, to me, one of the most iconic frames I've ever seen in a comic book.
Yeah.
He puts his fist through Joker's chest.
Yeah. Just like, and then, and of course his line was, how's that for a punchline?
Yeah.
And then expires. And the interesting,
and the shock look on Batman's face in the comic too.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Batman, and of course, I mean, Stella was saying, "Well, why doesn't Batman just kill the Joker? He's killed so many people." And I was like, because one, Batman doesn't kill.
Yep.
Two, the Joker is insane, and you don't kill crazy people. You know, no matter how much you want to, and no matter how many times the Joker has hurt people and killed people and stuff, he's crazy. He can't be held accountable. According to the laws of the land, he can't be held accountable for his actions because he is insane. And Batman is, even though every day that he goes out into the city in that ridiculous suit of his, even though he is breaking the law every time he does it for a good reason, and he ends up, you know, he ultimately does follow the law.
Yep.
The law. When taking down these criminals. I mean, it is kind of funny when you really think about it, the fact that any vigilante like this would be a nightmare of procedure of trying to get somebody arrested and whatnot, you know, and trying to get them convicted. Oh, good Lord. So,
but yeah, the movie overall, though, I thought was really well done.
Yeah.
It doesn't quite go into all the stuff that the comics do. It's mostly...
Well, they definitely made some changes. Made some changes, for sure.
They kept everything on one multiverse. On one Earth. So
one Earth until the end there.
Much.
I mean, it was on one, you know, and then thanks to Mr. Terrific, we see a little tweaking there. But it still was really good. And I really very much enjoyed it. I watched it when I came home from work today, since it said we shut the studio down early. So Stella watched it with me a little bit too. And it wasn't her jam. I was like, this one's going to be kind of violent. I'm like, oh, I don't know. But she kind of watched a little bit of it with me, and she was enjoying it as well. Interestingly enough, this movie actually had a few bigger names in it, and then a few kind of minor names, and not minor so much, but there's a bunch of voiceover actors and that were just kind of known for voiceover. And then there were a couple other actors. The guy who played Batman is Anson Mount, who played Captain Pike on Disco. So that was kind of cool. Justin Hartley played Superman, who is known for playing Oliver Queen on Smallville. And he's done some other things as well. A bunch of other things. Laura Bailey
did Lois. And the one goddess that turns Nightwing into Rama something. Yeah. I thought that was an interesting twist too, making him dead man,
making Dick dead man. I was like, okay, she made him Deadwing.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, that was cool. Because I'm like, wait a minute, he's in the after. Are we really going to see him go to the afterlife? And then Ramakrishna, that was what she.
Yeah.
Ramakrishna is basically a spiritual guardian or something like that, and made him dead man. I was like, all right, that's fucking fun. So I did like how they interspersed some comedy into this too. No. Like it was a heavy story, but there was some funny shit, and a lot of it was with Plastic Man,
yes,
and with Harley Quinn.
Yep.
The guy
Harley was hilarious.
Right. And Gillian Jacobs was on Community. She played Harley Quinn. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Well, she's also in Doom Patrol, isn't she? Isn't it the chick that is what's her name? The blob chick. I thought that was the same one.
No.
When I saw the
actress who played her in Doom Patrol?
Yeah.
No.
When I saw her, I thought that's who it was. Gillian Jacobs.
It's Gillian. Is it
Gillian?
Gillian with a G.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's not who I thought it was.
No. Yeah, Gillian Jacobs was on.
She's Adam Eve on Invincible.
Yeah, on Invincible. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, Margot Robbie.
Yeah, she's not who I was thinking of.
Plays. Oh, you mean on Doom Patrol?
Doom Patrol, not Suicide Squad. Doom Patrol.
Sorry. My head.
I was thinking of the chick from Doom Patrol.
Which one? The Elastigirl?
Yeah.
Yeah, not her. Not the same.
Yeah, I just saw the small picture and it looked like her, so
I could see where you'd make that mistake, maybe. Yeah, just in the nasal structure and the face. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, her interactions with Green Arrow was really funny.
Oh my God, that was so funny.
You're in the Arrow Cave. The Arrow Cave. You know, it's like, why don't you just call it the Quiver? And he's like,
but he's like, no, it's. Well, that's actually better.
She had the two H's on her boobs.
Yes, Hero Harley.
So I did like the fact that they did keep Harley Quinn alive in this section, because there were some changes. I mean, they killed the Flash off right away, and in the video game, the Flash is still around. And I also liked how all of the costumes seemed almost more armored. Like everybody was wearing more padding and more armor, kind of like everything looked a lot more aggressive, you know. So design element. So it's really, really cool.
One of the things, like when Nightwing actually dies, in the comic, that's a really heavy scene.
It is super heavy
because I mean Damian's there and he feels bad about it and he's trying to apologize to his father, and Bruce just walks up picks up Dick and says, "My son is dead," and walks away.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, Dick is his son.
Well,
I mean,
right,
his
and that's the
adopted
thing.
son.
He basically says right there that he's completely disowned Damien.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that hits Damien right in the fucking chest.
Right. Yeah. It was very hard. It was a very hard scene. And if I remember correctly, in the comic, he falls. I guess he falls. And
falls and hits his head on a rock.
Hits his head on a rock in a very. It just.
Like he's fighting. Like, but Damien's the one fighting him when it happens.
Right. Mm-hmm. And Damien was just like, just expected him to block it or survive or whatever. And Dick falls and dies from a blow to the head. It's just such a casual way of going, and you're like, oh man, it was heavy, man.
But yeah, the amount of death though in this is just
yeah, a lot.
Yeah. But we should probably move on.
We should. We got a couple more things to talk about here before the night's out. Switching gears.
Yes.
Last Thursday was the opening show for Critical Role Campaign 3.
Yes.
And I actually stayed up. Usually I don't watch the live feed because it starts at 10 o'clock our time and goes to about 2 a.m. And although I'm often up that late, I just feel like I shouldn't plan on staying up that late. So I did stay up and watch.
I stayed up and watched part of it. I wanted to see the new characters come in. I wanted to see what they were playing.
I thought that they'd roll out the characters like relatively early.
I'll watch the first hour and see who the new characters are.
No,
I watched the first hour and I'm like, okay, I've seen 4 of the 8 characters that are in this.
Right. I mean, it was interesting. We are at 8 players now, and I was really surprised about it.
I really like Robbie.
So do I.
So far, I really like him. I like his character. I still hate Regal.
Well, it's interesting too because all of the actors, all of the game players, the gamers, I call them actors because they all are actors, but they're all playing very different characters from all the characters they've played before. Mm-hmm. Marisha's character that she's playing now is completely different from Bo and from Keyleth.
I actually really like Ludna.
Yeah, she seems really cool.
I want to know who her patron is. I want to know, I want to know more about her.
I like that she's leaning into the dark, but she's actually really kind of a nice person.
Oh, she's like, I like kids. And she's like, she keeps doing like the creepy finger thing. Yeah. I like her. I like Laura's character.
Right.
Those two together, I think those two are probably my favorites right now.
I was really impressed with their attention to detail for when they were playing too, because like Laura, she brought on a light, like kind of Southern accent or Western.
It's Southern.
Like a Southern.
Yeah.
But it was real light, and she stayed in it the entire time.
Well,
and even the clothes that she was wearing were a lot more subdued.
Well, that's the thing. So that's one of the things I mentioned to Renee when they showed like the character drawings and they put up like their stats and stuff like that. They put up Laura's character, and I'm like, she looks like a steampunk character.
Yeah. She's a sorceress, you know, so she's playing a straight, just a straight character and a straight character class. And
they're only third level, except for Travis.
Travis. But she's playing a straight character class, and she's playing a pretty much like sorcerers are pretty much straight magic users. I mean, they can have weapons and stuff, but you don't see them using much outside of their spells, not as much anyway. So it should be interesting to see her like leaning heavily on the spell casting. I mean, she did that a little bit with Jester, but Jester didn't
use any weapons. Jester rarely ever used her weapons.
She used her spiritual weapon a lot.
Well, spiritual weapon, but that's a spell.
Sure, it is a spell, but I'm just saying it's not like she's throwing around magic missile all the time. Jester was very supportive.
She did a lot of inflict wounds though.
She did. And like I said, and she was a cleric, and she rarely healed. It's just kind of funny.
She was a shitty cleric.
which is why they had to bring in Caduceus, you know, a fucking healer. But yeah, and it's there's an interesting there's a very interesting range of characters.
Well, you've got Robbie, the new guy. Liam
brought over his character from Exandria.
Liam and Ashley, who are all playing their characters from Exandria Unlimited.
Correct. And as much as I would have loved to see brand new characters, I love those characters so far. And I think that's going to be really cool. It's going to be cool to see Liam play a strike fighter and see where he goes with this dex-based fighter.
Yep.
Because he's a halfling, so you really you really can't do strength-based fighters,
right? Well, and then you've got Taliesin with playing a barbarian.
A barbarian. And I like the fact that I've always liked it when people play barbarians that aren't your stereotypical like tribal bullshit, but you know, like Conan barbarian. Yeah. You know, like
he's a punk.
He's a punk. The term barbarian really has a much broader range than that. It's really, you know, it's really more about a way a person fights as opposed to necessarily their background.
Yeah, in the other campaign that I run, one of the guys is a barbarian, but he's the way of the ancestors. So we've had this discussion that when he goes into his rage, it's not so much that he is a berserker barbarian where he doesn't lose all of his senses. Mm-hmm. His rage is him channeling his ancestors.
Sure.
And it's just called a rage. It's not really him raging. Because I've said things before about when I first started doing it, I'm like, all right, well, you're going to have to try and do this to not do, you know, a certain thing. And he's like, well, no, he goes, I'm not really that raging, that, you know, mind-losing barbarian type.
He's not a berserker.
He's not a berserker. And that's the thing. There's the way of the berserker, which they are berserkers.
Right. Yeah, and I like that. And I also like that he's a genasi. I like the detail about him like having a damaged head that's been like kind of been repaired and
there's two genasi. An air and an earth.
Yeah. And it's interesting too to note, like I've never really thought of genasi, earth genasi as necessarily being like essentially made from stone. I've always thought of them more so like, yeah, they're still flesh, but they might have like a stony quality to them, or maybe their hair or something, you know, like that. Mm-hmm. The fact that his skin and like has like an almost golden, like it was shattered and was fixed with gold, and his head was broken and they kind of filled it in with like glass. And I do like the details though about like his jacket and he's got like "fuck off" written on his.
See, I think that's stupid hammer. As fuck. I think that's dumb
like
as
that?
Fuck. Nope, I don't like that.
I kind of like it. I like the fact that it's really, it's expressing a lot about the character, about who he is. I do feel like it'll be interesting to see this character grow beyond being just a punk kid, because that's what he seems like he is. It's just like kind of this rebellious punk kid. I want to see that character at level 15 and see where he's at and how he's changed, you know? Because honestly, I mean, I really enjoy Taliesin as a gamer. I think he is probably one of the more. He has had some of the most well thought out and interesting characters that they've had. I mean, I thought Percy was fucking cool as fuck, and
he doesn't like playing standard characters though.
No,
so I'm surprised he's playing a barbarian. I'm curious as to what path he is, because I have a feeling his path is going to be completely new.
Yeah, maybe, but
because he doesn't. He has never played, other than Caduceus. He has never started a campaign with a character that is a standard character class. The Gunslinger was created for him to play. The Blood Hunter was created for him to play. And then he played the Grave Cleric as Caduceus.
And even Caduceus was very out of the ordinary.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I think this character, and I think it's also giving him the opportunity to be a rebellious punk, you know.
Well, I saw somebody saying he gets to channel his punk side now.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Percy is cool. He should be the leader.
I do like Percival.
Percival, Reginald,
DeRollo the Third.
There's a couple more names in there.
Van Mussel.
Frederick. There's a Frederick in there.
Frederick von Mussel. Then
DeRollo the Third. Yeah. But
I gotta admit, for as goofy as Sam is, and as annoying as he can be, and I'm kind of right there with you. I mean, if we had a gamer like that in our party, I'd probably stab it.
Mm-hmm. Repeatedly.
Because I do like,
and not in the game.
Right. Yeah. Personally, like for reals. I think it's good to have some lightness and some goofiness and silliness, but I think Sam takes it one step too far sometimes. And at the same time, though, there are times when he has had some of the most serious, some of the most heaviest things in all the campaigns have happened because of Sam, because of his characters. The stuff that happened when Nott became Veth and with her child.
I honestly hated Veth. I think
I liked Nott better than Veth.
I got to like Nott near the end of Nott's run, but Veth I couldn't stand.
I get it. I think I liked Veth. I think I liked Nott better than Veth because Nott was very broken. It was very. Yeah. And then when she became Veth, it kind of fixed her.
CD said, "No Vox spoilers." LOL. Kidding. I'll forget.
Okay. This is we're still talking about the Mighty Nine right now, but it was she had some. I mean, like I said, his characters have had some very, very powerful moments. When what's his fucking name from the first campaign? Scanlan, thank you. When Scanlan left the group for a while and they brought in Taryon Darrington. And Taryon Darrington was a riot. He was so funny. It was a lot of fun. And Scanlan had some really serious shit go down. And that's the crazy thing is Sam Riegel will drive you crazy with the pranks and the silly things, and I'm going to take a shit on his bed. And
that stuff right there, I'm like, that's just dumb.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I mean, he's doing that. He's doing that to make the show interesting. He's trying
but he's not. He's making it dumb. The show is interesting without that. I don't need him shitting in a jar and putting it on a thing and then scrying through it. That's fucking stupid.
No, I feel you. I get it. But I think at the time he was doing things like that. I think he doesn't have to. He knows that he doesn't have to do that anymore. And you'll notice that he did that less with the Mighty Nine. They didn't do quite as many of that kinds of things, And I don't think it was just because Scanlan is a very different character than Nott. I think when at the beginning, they were like, we got to make sure that this is really entertaining. So I'm going to do crazy off the wall shit and to make sure that the audience still is entertained by it. And I think they might have figured out to get subs. Exactly, CD. Thank you.
But that's just juvenile bullshit. And
sure, but
do we need to do that in ours then? We have people shitting all over the place and
no, but you got to remember that was the beginning of streaming a D&D game. So I think they were afraid. I think particularly Sam was like, honestly, we got to keep things popping. We got to keep things
well, that's
crazy.
The thing. So honestly, if I had started watching Critical Role when it started, I would probably not be watching it now because I would have stopped watching it because I really don't. The only reason I'm going back and watching Vox now is because I liked the characters in season 2. I did not care for any of those characters. In the first 20 episodes, I would have stopped watching it.
Mm-hmm. But you're getting it now.
Yeah, I
Like
still don't care for the
understanding
characters
it.
a whole lot. I'm just watching it to try and see what's going on.
No, but you're starting to understand now more so why people like Vox. I know that you prefer the Mighty Nine, but I can, you've said that you're kind of starting to get it, that the show definitely, and your brothers-in-law have said this too, because they are much further into the show, that as the show progresses, as the campaign one progresses, the characters get a lot more likable. The story is really great. The game itself is really great. And just like, you got to remember, like in campaign one, a lot of the people playing were still really new to role playing and role playing games and developing a story like this. So Sam Riegel had never played D&D before before Critical Role. And I think they'd
been playing for like 2 years before they started the stream.
Yeah, but it wasn't like every week like it was. It's like, yeah, they had started the campaign, but they were playing like once every 4 months or something like that when they could get together. When they started the stream, they were like, they had been playing a little bit regularly, and then they started for like a couple months, and then they started the stream. And like I said, it was the beginning of an art form, and they were still figuring things out. That's my take on it anyway. Because if you really look at it, his play style changed a lot from Scanlan to not.
Mm-hmm.
He
still tried to do goofy shit.
He did, but it wasn't like shitting on somebody's back.
No, he still tries to push buttons, and that drives me crazy.
Yeah. And I think he liked pushing Matt's buttons, and you could tell there were times when Matt was like, "Oh, I'm not having this anymore." But he's not gonna call him out in the middle of a
like when every time he shows up with Matt on his shirt.
That shit was funny as fuck. Come on, that shit was funny
the one time I thought it was funny was where every week he had a different person's face on there, and they're like, "Where the fuck did you find that?"
Screen caps, man. It's just with screen caps.
No, it was all their old headshots.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. His wife is a photographer. She probably has some connections. We may be able to get a hold of that.
But anyway, so we can go into Sam's character, who is an automaton called Fresh Cut Grass.
Fresh Cut Grass, and I think it was my friend.
As soon as I saw that, I'm like, I don't know if I can watch this.
Oh, shut up! Come on.
His character is interesting. I will say this: his character is kind of interesting though, because he is so different than either Scanlan or not Vet.
Yeah,
he's super happy and nice.
Yes, so it's going to be interesting to see how he gets goofy and crazy and silly this way, with this character.
Now, the one thing I will say, the fact that his creator did a bunch of them and named them after all of her favorite smells: fresh cut grass, apple pie, oatmeal, pussy. He just kind of throws that in.
He just rattled them off. I swear to God, I laughed so goddamn hard. Stella was in the other room, and I think she was asleep, and she might have stirred. I'm not sure, but I lost my shit. And I think what was so funny, more than just them saying that, was the reaction that the rest of the cast had from it. They were losing their mind.
Liam had his head on Laura's shoulder and was laughing so hard.
Robbie was like this. And he's shaking. He's laughing so hard. Oh my God. It was so fucking funny, man. And I think my friend Nick at work said, I think he named that character Fresh Cut Grass just so that he could make this joke.
Probably.
Just so that he could make the pussy joke.
Yep.
Man, it was goddamn hilarious. So I'm interested to see, on top of the fact that too, having an automaton or a warforged or whatever the fuck it is.
He's not a warforged. He's an automaton.
Okay, an automaton that is a cleric, and how that's going to work.
Well, because he's not faith-based.
Right.
So okay. I'm curious as to how that's going to work, because he even says in this one that he's not he just heals people. He doesn't.
Okay, well, how?
Yeah.
You know?
He doesn't actually have divine magic.
Well, I mean, then how is it? Is he going to have? Is he still going to be able to cast like fucking Flame Strike? You know, I mean, what does he do? You know, where does he get his ability to heal? Where does he get? He can't just be a healer. Is he going to cast harm and cause wounds and stuff like that too? I mean,
well, he's got like the chainsaw and the hammer and all those attachments for his arm.
Right. Sure. He's also not. It doesn't look like he's a big guy either.
No,
he's
little.
Not like, yeah, he's a little. So it's gonna be interesting to see how effective he is in combat. So we'll see. But yeah, okay. I'm excited for that character. I'm excited. We're already familiar with Fern and Orem and Darian from. I think it's Darian. That's what it is, right?
I don't remember. I haven't watched. I've only watched
Dariax and Dorian.
Yeah, Dorian.
And Dorian from the other Critical Role.
Which
from
I have to say, I like all three of those already.
I do.
I started watching Alexandria Unlimited, and I don't think I can watch that just from the very beginning of that with the whole peeing on the spear. We talked about this at our game.
Oh my god!
The peeing on the spear and peeing off the roof and shitting off the roof, and I'm like, no, this is just juvenile humor, and it's not my thing.
Chris, that was the only part of it that was that bad. The rest of it was pretty good. The rest of it was really cool seeing Matt be able to play and not be a DM. The new DM was really cool. She was very loose with the rules. I will say that. Like, if it was good for the story, she was like, go for it. Give it a shot. And
see, I'm good with rule of cool, but it's also, you got to still follow the rules to an extent. They are guidelines. I mean,
she still made people, she still made people like roll and stuff, but she was very free with inspirations. Like,
started everybody off with inspiration at the beginning of the game.
Sure. She also started them off with a pretty good-sized amount of money for a bunch of third-level characters. So
I thought they were second when they started.
Was started at second, maybe third. But she basically gifted them $5,000 in gold, and that's pretty good for that amount.
That's a lot for that level.
Yeah, and they were able to. I mean, she got to play. Gilmore, Glorious Gilmore. That was pretty awesome.
I heard that she was Keyleth too, because they mentioned that in the first. Well, they mentioned that in this, that Keyleth is the one that sent them to.
Yeah, but she never played Keyleth.
Oh, okay.
No, you just know that Orm was sent on a mission by Keyleth, by the leader of the Arashari, because he's an Arashari. He's just not a druid. He's a fighter.
Yeah.
And Chris, I think you really should. You're doing them a disservice just because they opened the show with some fucking goofy shenanigans, because they were role playing that they were all drunk and partying and being drunken goofballs, and it ended up being a pretty entertaining show. Fern, watching Ashley play Fern and play a very different character from both Yasha and Pike, but still had little elements of both of them a little bit too. It was pretty cool. I am
a bit of a D&D conservative.
I know you are. Yes, you are very much so. You're very much so. And Fern is a fawn, but I don't know what character class she is.
Druid.
She's a druid?
Yeah.
Okay, yes. You're right. Because she does polymorph into a wolf, a dire wolf at one point. So yeah. Okay, she's a druid. So we have a druid, we've got a cleric, we've got a sorcerer / warlock, we've got a fighter in Orm, we've got a bard in Dorian.
And then we've got an ancient fighter.
We have an an older fighter in
not older. He's fucking old.
Yeah, he's fucking old. In Travis's character, which was introduced in one of the epilogues to Vox.
Yeah, it was Search for Grog, wasn't it?
Search for Grog, correct.
That's what I heard. But he was like way higher level then, so he's like regressed.
Yeah, it seemed like he was higher level. He wasn't quite this old, but he was an older guy, but he was like a 15th level fighter, 16th level fighter, something.
And now he's 5th.
Now he's 5th, and I don't know. I'm wondering if that's just because he's gotten older and maybe he's
forgotten some stuff. Dementia set in.
Well, just the fact that maybe it's reflective of him not being as spry. But okay, what happens when he levels up then? I did like the fact that he is 5th level compared to the rest of them being 3rd level. But I don't know. That was the one character that I was kind of like, all right, now I'm a little disappointed in that, because I would have liked to have seen Travis play, maybe something really out of the ordinary.
Mm-hmm.
But he has leaned back into a physical character of being a fighter. I mean, it's interesting that he's playing an old guy. So that should be a fun kind of dynamic.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. It's probably going to be great. It's probably going to be great.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I mean, it's only the first episode. I thought it was good, but we should move on because we're already at an hour and 37 minutes. So
right. So we want to touch on Dune a little bit.
Yes. So last weekend in theaters and on HBO,
right.
Dune was released, and I have to say,
it even opens with Dune Part 1. Yeah.
Yes, and I'm like, oh, maybe they're going to split it up into different chapters inside the movie. No, this is actually Part 1. I didn't realize that this was going to be a series of movies.
Now, the thing is, though, they haven't fully okayed a sequel yet. I think the director...
Renee says she's here for it, for Critical Role. So
I think that she's here for Critical Role.
I think so, yeah. And hey, Renee, welcome in.
Yeah. So, from what I understand, they haven't officially okayed a sequel yet. I think they're kind of playing their cards close to their chest. I think the producers...
They fucking better. This is only half the goddamn movie.
Right, exactly. Well, it's about half the book. Yeah. From what I understand, a friend of mine was saying it's debatable. I mean, it could be more like a third of the book. He was saying that that they could turn it into a trilogy. They could turn the entire first book into a trilogy. They're
saying that, from what I was talking with a guy at work today, and the producer, director, writer, the guys who are doing these, their goal is to do 3 movies. They want to do a trilogy. The first 2 will be the first book.
Okay.
And then the third one will be the next book. Which actually expands on the story some.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, man. The Dune books are long. The first book is 798 pages. They said plus an appendix.
Yeah, well, they said that the second. He said the second one is significantly shorter than the first.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay. There is a lot. I mean, I think a lot of people say that the problems with the David Lynch one was that he just tried to cram too much into one movie. And personally, I always liked the original Dune movie. I saw it when I was like 10 in the theaters with my uncle. He took me for my birthday, and
it was one of the first movies that me and a buddy of mine went to see by ourselves. I was 13, he was 12.
Yeah.
And we rode up to Oakland Mall.
Yeah, and I always kind of looked up to my uncle, who's only 10 years older than I am.
Patrick Stewart was good in that.
Patrick Stewart was good. He played Gurney. Duncan Idaho or Gurney.
He was Gurney.
Okay,
I think. I'll double check, but I think he was Gurney.
Yeah. So it's see, I think he was Duncan, but I'm not sure.
1984. I'm looking now.
Yeah. But he was either Duncan or Gurney, one of the two. 1984, yeah.
Duncan was Richard Jordan.
Okay, so he was Gurney Halleck then.
Yes, he was Gurney Halleck. Patrick Stewart was Gurney. That's what I thought. So now the one thing that I didn't see in this particular version though was Fayed.
Fade Ralph, yeah. Well, he comes in later.
Does he? I thought he was in at the beginning too.
Well, he was seen at the beginning, but there's a lot of stuff that they put in, you know. I mean, the director added in things and put in different things, and I mean, maybe he has plans. Maybe this the new director has plans for putting in like maybe Fade Rotha would be a like a very special kind of actor, kind of like how Sting was brought in as like kind of a surprising character, you know, or surprising actor to play that.
And the one thing that got me on this one though was them pronouncing the house name.
They kept saying Harkonnen.
Yes,
and I was like, I
always heard Harkonnen.
Me too.
I never heard Harkonnen, and I'm like, that just it sounds wrong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't like that. I didn't like the way they
And in all honesty, well, Skarsgård was, I thought, really good as Baron Harkonnen. He wasn't quite disgusting enough for me.
Yeah, I agree. He was scary and creepy.
Yeah, but he needed more boils and shit on him.
Yeah, he needed to be fucking scary. He needed to be gross.
Yeah. But I gotta say, I enjoyed the movie. I thought it was really well done. They added some things. From what I've heard, they've still cut a bunch of things out in the some stuff that's like story building and like character building.
Yeah.
And it did, honestly, it was 2.5 hours long, and it still seemed a little rushed to me.
Yeah, maybe.
Like it could have been longer. Uh-huh. And that was surprising to me when I realized that it was only half the movie. But they're going into more with the stuff with him finding the Fremen and things like that. I thought that was really cool. I
think Chalamet did a really good job playing Paul as well. I think honestly the entire cast was really well done.
And it's a hell of a cast too.
Oh yeah,
honestly.
Yeah. I mean, Jason Momoa, god damn.
Oh, I loved him as Duncan.
He was amazing. And that's the other thing too. They really expanded on Duncan's role. In the first movie, Duncan showed up. He was in it, but he was
his trainer.
Yeah. He wasn't depicted as being the badass that he is. You know, I mean, Momoa's Duncan, Idaho. Like fucking walked through a bunch of Sardaukar fucking special forces, basically.
See, that's the thing. I don't remember the Sardaukar from the 1984 one.
Yeah, they were the guys that looked like they were where were they? I think they were wearing red. I think they're the guys that were wearing red. I gotta watch the 84 version.
And that's the thing. I want to go back and watch the 84 version now to remind myself of it, because it's been years since I've seen it.
Right, me too. And the thing is, part of it too is because it's probably going to be minimum 2 years before we see the sequel to this movie. So, I kind of want Stella to know how it ends. Yeah, so I figured we'd watch the old one so she could at least kind of.
The other one I've always wanted to see was the sci-fi miniseries. I never actually saw that one.
Yeah, I saw parts of it. I don't think I saw the whole thing.
But the other thing to remember about the one from 84 was, or 83, 84, was that it was a David Lynch film.
Right.
So it's a little fucked up too.
Right. Toto did the music.
Did they?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, but overall though, I really liked this version.
Yeah, so
and I think they're doing a good job.
Now, from what I understand, the original one, if you see the director's cut, because apparently there's a 4-hour director's cut.
Holy shit!
Yeah, that is that they say really, really kind of captures the like what what David Lynch really was trying to do.
Yeah. Well,
and the Sci-Fi Channel version or whatever, the TV version, it had it was Dune, and then they did Children of Dune. So they did actually do like the sequel.
The second book. I guess there's 15 books in the series, but a guy that I work with that is huge into Dune, he said these are like some of his favorite books from when he was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
He said reading the ones that Frank Herbert did, which are only 6.
The first 6.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They said that's the only ones that you really need to read. He said after that it got weird and got shitty, and
his son took over writing it with like Kevin J. Anderson as a co-writer. And from what I've understood, there's a lot of the purists basically say, once you get past the original 6, you don't need to go any further.
I did hear though that like at one point like Paul's kid or something like that melds with a sandworm and becomes like this god, and
it becomes a sandworm.
And I'm like, okay, that just gets fucking weird then.
Yeah. I mean, the TV version had a few pretty decent like cast members in it. Like William Hurt played Duke Leto Atreides. And some of the actors that were in it have gone on to do a few, do some other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like the guy who played Paul Atreides or Muad'Dib, he's recognizable. I can't remember. I haven't really
that's
seen
the thing.
A lot.
In this one, you never even hear Muad'Dib.
Yeah. He's not referred to as Muad'Dib at all in this one yet. So
that'll be the next one.
Yep.
But I'm looking forward to it. Can't wait. I will watch this again. There was one guy I heard that sits behind me at work was talking with some other guys, and I heard somebody said, "Hey, did you watch Dune?" He's like, "Yeah, I watched it Thursday, and then I watched it again on Friday, and I watched it again on Saturday."
Nice.
And I'm like, okay, I plan on watching it again, probably before too long, because I think it's only going to be on HBO for like 2 or 3 weeks, and then
it's for the month, I believe.
Maybe, but that's what they're doing is they're only putting it out for a few weeks when it's out in theaters, and it'll disappear and it'll come back later. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we should probably wrap things up.
Yeah.
So
sure, definitely, it's getting late.
Yep, it's starting to get late. So,
well, guys, thanks for joining us tonight on our special, our current Monday editions here of Nerds with Alcohol. We're gonna, like I said, it's going to be 8:00 on Mondays for the next like 4 weeks or so until
next week. Episode 250, right here, same Twitch time, same Twitch channel.
Episode 250, guys. Remember, you can find us on all the places you can find quality podcasting, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, we are on Stitcher. We're on the Odyssey app. We're on the Google Play Store. We're on Spotify. We are on iTunes and iHeartRadio. And of course, you can download and stream all of the episodes at nerdswithalcoholshow.com every Monday night at the moment at 8:00. And Chris puts the episode up on YouTube a couple days later.
Or maybe a couple weeks, depending on how far behind I am.
Depending.
I'm actually, I haven't gotten last week's up yet. So I need to do that.
Come on, man.
I might be doing it right after this show. So remember, you can follow us on most of the social medias. We are on Facebook, Nerds with Alcohol Show. We're on Instagram, Drinking Nerds, Twitter at Drinking Nerds, and pretty much just look for us anywhere for Drinking Nerds, and you might be able to find us. Those are the main ones, though. And then, that's about it. Remember, you can subscribe to our channel. If you don't subscribe already, that'll get rid of any ads that you see, and it really helps us out. Anything that we get from the channel will actually go right back into making things better on the channel, getting us better equipment, getting us better stuff, maybe even getting stuff for Tavern Nights. We are trying to get more content on here. It's just a matter of whether or not what we can do. Russ and I both have lives outside of this, so
busy ones.
Yeah.
Busy ones.
Oh, hey, thanks, CD. He just gave us a cheer and 100 bits.
Hey, thanks, buddy.
So,
We are also talking. I'm talking to a few people for being to be guest stars soon. A couple of other Twitch streamers that I know. It's gonna be great to talk to these other Twitch streamers and kind of pick their brain a little bit about the art form of being a Twitch streamer. So it should be cool. Did we get another follower?
No.
Latest follower.
Oh yeah, that was like 2.5 weeks ago.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so we're still looking for followers, subscribers, all that stuff. So thanks a lot, guys, and thank you everyone that's supported us up until now. Even CD, you've been fantastic. It's been a blast. We still do want to have you on the show, actually. Get you on here and talking with us at some point. So, but I think that's gonna about do it.
Yep, that should do it.
So I think on that note. Until next time. Slancha. Yeah, it was okay. All right. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.